Your Tesla is trying to tell you its battery is dying right now. I promise you, you are ignoring the signs. I have dug into thousands of owner reports, forum threads, and repair shop cases, and the pattern is always the same. By the time the dashboard throws a warning, you are already looking at a 5-figure repair bill. But there are 6 symptoms that show up weeks or even months before that warning appears. Symptom number 3 is the one that fools almost every Tesla owner I have talked to. Number 1, phantom drain that breaks the rules. So your Tesla is supposed to lose about 1% a day sitting in the driveway with everything off. That is just the car doing what it is supposed to do, waking up, checking itself, topping off the 12-volt, and then going back to sleep. Technically, this should not be a big deal. But I keep seeing cases where that number jumps to 5, 6, 7% a day, and nobody can explain why. There was a 2023 Model X long range sitting in a garage for a week, and the owner did everything right, turned Sentry off, turned cabin overheat off, disconnected every app. When he came back, the car had dropped from 80 to 33%. He took it to Tesla, and they told him it was within vehicle specs. They would not even explain what that meant. He was bleeding 7% a day from a car that was literally doing nothing, and Tesla's response was basically, trust us, that is normal. And it is not just that one car. There was a Cybertruck sitting in an underground garage for 2 weeks with everything shut off, and that thing went from 80% to completely dead. The owner had to call a flatbed to get it out of the parking structure. If you have ever seen a tow truck try to navigate one of those, you already know how that went. Now, what I personally think is going on in a lot of these cases is the 12-volt battery. Nobody ever checks it. When that little 12-volt starts dying, it prevents the car from going into deep sleep. The main pack just sits there feeding it power all night in an endless loop. I know a guy whose Model S was making a buzzing noise at 2 in the morning. It sounded like a mini fridge having a bad dream. Turned out the 12-volt was toast, a $200 fix, and the drain was gone the next day. Here is a quick way to check. Pull up your Tesla Fi sleep logs. If your car is waking up 10, 15, 20 times a day instead of once or twice, something is keeping it up. But losing range while parked is one thing. What I am about to show you next is way worse, because Tesla is actively doing it to your car on purpose. Number 2, your charging curve starts lying to you. Your Model 3 should hit about 200 to 250 kilowatts at a V3 supercharger, between 10 and 50%. That's the baseline. When those numbers start quietly dropping and you haven't changed how you charge, your pack is talking to you. But here is the part that really gets under my skin. Tesla is silently capping supercharging speeds on cars that fast charge a lot, and they never tell you. They do not send an email, they do not pop up a message on your screen, they just flip a switch on their end, and your car is permanently slower. I read about a guy who used CHAdeMO adapters about 245 times and got capped at 90 kilowatts for good. No notification, nothing. He just noticed one day his car was charging at half speed. I think that is wrong. If you are going to limit a feature that someone paid for, you should at least tell them. But that is Tesla for you. The even scarier version is when the battery management system decides your car can only charge to 50%. You plug in at night, you expect a full charge in the morning, and your car just quits at half. Over 4,000 vehicles in South Korea had this happen. Some of them had it 3 times. Imagine dealing with that on your morning commute. And the next symptom on this list has probably already cost somebody, $15,000 they did not need to spend. Number 3, the 12-volt battery pretending to be a dead main pack. This right here is the one that's going to save some of you real money. Your Tesla actually runs on 2 batteries. the big, expensive pack everyone worries about, and a tiny 12-volt battery that runs all the electronics behind the scenes. On cars built before 2022, it is a cheap lead-acid unit that typically dies after 3 to 4 years. Nobody thinks about it until it is too late. When it goes, the car puts on a show. The touchscreen flickers, the car refuses to shift into drive, mirrors fold in and out on their own like the car is possessed. A shop I talked to down in Fort Lauderdale sees this every week. Someone walks in absolutely convinced their main pack is dead, already Googling how much a new battery costs. The technician checks the 12-volt, finds it reading 11 volts instead of 12.6, replaces it for under $300, and every warning vanishes. $300 versus $15,000. You decide what is better and let me know in the comments. So if your Tesla was built before 2022 and the 12-volt battery is more than 4 years old, just go swap it. Do not overthink it. 12.6 volts on a multimeter means healthy. Anything below 12 volts means you are on borrowed time. The next one worries me more than anything on this list because the advice you have been following about how to charge your Tesla might actually be causing it. Number 4. Cell imbalance, the silent killer. I think this one matters more than everything else combined, and almost nobody is talking about it. Your battery pack has over 4,000 cells split into 96 groups. They all need to hold roughly the same voltage. When one group drifts even a little, it limits the whole pack. Gruber Motors in Phoenix, who I think do the best independent Tesla battery work in the country, have pulled packs apart where just one bad cell out of over 7,000 killed everything. One cell dragged down an entire $70,000 car. What you will notice from the driver's seat is weird range behavior. You charge to what the screen says is full, but you are getting way fewer miles than you should. Or the percentage starts bouncing around while the car is just sitting there. Now here is where I am going to step on some toes. A lot of you keep your charge between 20 and 65% because the internet told you to, and I think that advice is actually hurting your battery. Tesla's system can only rebalance cells when the charge is up above 80 to 90%. It bleeds off tiny amounts of voltage from the strong cells to even everything out. If you never let it get up there, the cells slowly drift apart and your range disappears. The simplest fix for this is something that sounds completely backwards. Charge your Tesla to 100% every once in a while. I know the internet says never do that. But a 2016 Model S lost 15 miles of range in 8,000 miles specifically because the owner kept it at 60% for months. The cells drifted so far apart that the pack could not function properly. He charged to 100% a few times, the system rebalanced, and the range came right back. If you have an LFP pack, Tesla's own manual says do this once a week. When Tesla and I agree on something, pay attention. Now, if you are shopping for a used Model 3 or Model Y, there is something else you need to know. Not all Tesla battery cells are created equal. EV Clinic in Europe found that LG cells from Nanjing fail around 155,000 miles, while Panasonic cells from Japan last closer to 250,000. And when the LG packs go, the damage spreads so far that swapping one module does not cut it. The problem is, you have no way of knowing which cells are in the car before you buy it. If you are picking up what I am putting down, hit subscribe. I put out Tesla tips every week that I guarantee your dealer will not tell you about. Number 5. Voltage sag and the turtle that shows up too early. You floor your Tesla, and instead of that instant shove into the seat, it feels like the car is thinking about it. That delay, that mushiness, is called voltage sag. The cells in your pack are getting tired, and they cannot push power like they used to. Think of it like a garden hose with a kink. The water is there, it just cannot get through. Normally, the turtle icon does not show up until you are below 5%. The pack is almost empty and protecting itself. But if that turtle pops up at 20% on a 70-degree day, that is a real warning sign. Your cells are so worn they cannot deliver power even with plenty of charge left. I have watched this play out, and it moves fast. A 2015 Model S dropped from 80% to 42% in a few hours just sitting parked. By the end of the day, it had locked itself into park and would not move. But what really got to me was a different situation where Tesla had literally just inspected the car, replaced the 12-volt, and told the owner everything checked out. 20 miles later, it was dead in a hospital parking lot, screen black, doors sealed shut. So Tesla looked at this car, said it was fine, and it did not even make it home. Draw your own conclusions on that one. Number 6. Sudden capacity collapse, the point of no return. Everything I have covered leads here if nobody catches it. This is when the battery pack gives up. There is an error the Tesla community calls the kiss of death, and when it shows up, the pack is finished about 95% of the time. But that last 5% is important because I have tracked at least 5 cases where Tesla told the owner to replace the entire battery for $20,000 when the real problem was a bad DC to DC converter, totally a different part, and a way cheaper repair. But Tesla does not do diagnostics like that. They pull the pack and bill you. If any other shop pulled that move on a regular car, you would call it a scam. With Tesla, people just accept it. The early Model S cars from 2012 through 2015 got hit worst. A man in Toronto sank $22,000 into a 2013 Performance between the purchase price and repairs, and then one morning a software update triggered the fatal error. Overnight, the car was worth $8,000. He lost $14,000 because of something Tesla pushed to his car while it was parked in his driveway. And if you are thinking that only happens to old, high-mileage cars, think again. Packs with 75,000 miles and balanced cells have failed after sitting for 10 days. The owner comes back from vacation, the car is stuck at 53%. And it will not take another watt of charge. 4 years old. That is barely broken in. Now don't panic. Let me save some of you a phone call. I get comments about this all the time. If your range drops 10 or 20 miles, but the car still drives fine, that is usually just the computer losing track. Run it down below 10% and charge to 100%. The range almost always comes back. Real degradation is different. More than 10% in your first year means something is wrong. For perspective, the average across thousands of Teslas is about 12% loss at 200,000 miles. There is a Model 3 taxi with 217,000 miles still sitting at 88%. These packs can absolutely last. But when yours does not, do not just hand Tesla a blank check. The Electrified Garage fixed a 2013 Model S for $5,750 by swapping 2 modules. Tesla wanted $22,500 for the same car. That is the difference between keeping the car and crushing it. That right there is why I keep making these videos. I just put out a new video about the newest Tesla service center scams hitting owners right now. After hearing how Tesla quoted $22,000 for a car that needed a $5,000 fix, and how they are permanently throttling supercharging speeds without telling anyone, you need to see what else they are getting away with. That video is right here.